to be honest, I just don't really care to like collaborate with any other leftist ever again at this point.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at, because they come on the show, they build a name for themselves, and then they build a bigger name for themselves, trashing us as if they don't know who we are, as if they haven't worked with us, they don't know what our actual political values are. So I don't, Jake, I never want to talk about them again. I never want to address them again. It's a waste of time. There's important stuff going on in the country. Our personal drama with a bunch of leftists on Twitter doesn't matter.
The woke left has officially lost another one. It's not just Bill Maher anymore. Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks is in a war with transgender activists, and that's actually just the beginning. We're going to see the latest controversy that's tearing the liberal world apart and how wokeness actually guarantees the end of the political left. Anna Kasparian of the ultra-left Young Turks is pushing back against the backlash she's been receiving after she called transgender language degrading to women. She originally tweeted out, quote, "I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You could support the transgender community without doing this shit." And almost immediately, British rapper and entrepreneur Zuby responded to the tweet with, "You know, your side is going to roast you, you know. I hope you're ready for the tolerance." Kasparian responded, "They have the right to speak their piece as I do," to which another respondent said, "They don't think you've got that right," to which Kasparian responded, "I can see that. Sad day for them." Well, let's just say the woke crowd did not disappoint. They swooped in as a mad mob to excommunicate Kasparian for her wrongthink. Now, keep in mind, through all this, keep in mind, her crime was insisting that people refer to her as a woman. And you would think that in the age of pronoun designation, she would certainly have that right, wouldn't she? I mean, I thought we're living at a time where we got to insist on how other people had to refer to us, and using the wrong pronoun could get you fired in the age of woke Inc. So that was her crime. Her crime was insisting that people refer to her as a woman and not as a birthing person or anything else like that. Well, my oh my, did the games begin. One woke activist tweeted out in response, "Oh, F off with this stupid made-up bullshit. Trans folks are having their existence criminalized in state after state. You want to whine about this shit." Another one wrote, quote, "I'm unblocking you to tell you you're a piece of shit for joining this transphobic mass hysteria while being silent about anti-trans legislation. How does a very small niche of people using terms like birthing person to include trans men and non-binary people invalidate you? Get a grip." Another one responded, "Actually thought you were one of the good ones, but clearly I was wrong. Buying into the transphobic hysteria and spreading more ignorance and hate to a minority going through absolute hell right now. Just shameful." And finally, this one, "Didn't realize the Young Turks was now right-wing." It's right-wing to want to be called a woman. Now, unfortunately for these woke warriors, Kasparian did not back down. She wrote a follow-up tweet saying, quote, "LOL, the meltdowns over wanting to be referred to as a woman rather than a birthing person is pretty wild. I'll never apologize for that, especially as a biological woman who's had an effing lifetime of being told I'm less than. I'm a woman. No apologies." And of course, that doubling down only served to double down on the ire that she received from all of this. So what's going on here? I mean, first it was Bill Maher railing against all things woke, then Piers Morgan, now the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian. Why are so many on the left railing against their fellow leftists? What is this civil war all about? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out. But first, gang, while the split on the political left certainly is bad news for the globalist empire, it's great news for gold. As more and more nations are going back to the gold standard, now is the time for patriots to return to the timeless value of gold and silver for this rising new conservative age. And that is where our good friends over at Goldco come in. Click on that link below and learn the 3 simple steps you can take right now to protect your savings with gold and silver. In fact, Goldco are patriots just like us, and they're offering up to $10,000 in free silver while supply lasts. So don't wait. Click on that link below or visit my special website, turleytalkslikesgold.com. What we're seeing in this clash inside the political left is reflective of an ideological clash between leftist commitments to fairness on the one hand and inclusion on the other. So, for example, when it comes to female sports, are we going to err on the side of fairness and thus ban trans athletes from competing? Or are we going to err on the side of inclusion and thus, in effect, basically guarantee the end of women's sports? Women's sports would inevitably be dominated by biological males who identify as women. And because this is a clash between 2 leftist values, fairness and inclusion, leftists in terms of how they're hyper-fixated with these values, conservatives score very high in terms of our concerns over fairness and inclusion, but we also score equally high on other moral values such as sanctity, authority, loyalty. So we have a much more balanced approach that mitigates against their clash. But because leftists are hyper-fixated on fairness and inclusion, inevitably there's going to be a struggle whenever these 2 values clash. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing this split on the left. The woke take the side of inclusion, whereas the traditional left take the side of fairness. And then, as a result of the clash, fellow leftists find themselves on the receiving end of the rabid hostility that's become so characteristic of the woke. And that only serves to exacerbate the clash. So this is the reason why, when you ask Democrats if they support some woke agenda, do you support CRT being taught in our schools? Do you support transgender athletes competing in women's sports? This is why the answers generally split down the middle. About 50% say yes, and the other 50% say no. But when you ask Republicans, self-identified Republicans, the same questions, right? Do you support such and such woke issue or agenda? Well, what's their answer, right? It's 100%. It's not just no, it's 100% resounding hell no. So what wokeness is doing is it's splitting the left and it's uniting the right. Or another way of putting it, the right are far more likely to vote against wokeness than the left is to vote for it. So this is why even left-wing liberal meccas like San Francisco are seeing a revolt against all things woke, right? A few months back, 3 woke members from the San Francisco Unified School Board were recalled by parents by upwards of 70 to 80% of the vote. So that's not a repudiation of wokeness on the left. I don't know what is. So obviously we'll be keeping an eye on how things develop here with the Young Turks and Anna Kasparian. But if the woke continue to react so viscerally the way they do to their own leftists, inevitably there'll be very few faithful wokesters left. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on Trump's fundraising absolutely soaring as Biden's poll numbers plummet. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on the link. And I'll see you over there. God bless.